What's up, YouTube? So, in this video, I just want to kind of give my thoughts on the Dolphins and Falcons game last night. I just did this last week as well. I did the live stream, of course, yesterday. But if you missed it, I'm not expecting you to have to watch through a 3-hour live stream to get my opinion on the game. So, I thought that Tua looked very, very good again. I have rewatched the game as well. I've now seen the game twice. I thought that Tua looked pretty good. Most of his throws were accurate, well timed, making decisions quickly, which is really good to see. There was only 3 plays that kind of threw me off a little bit. There was one play in the second quarter where he kind of threw it, where there was 4 defenders there and really didn't give our receiver much of a chance to get it. So, bad decision and bad throw on that one. There was another one in the first quarter where he just kind of overthrew Matt Collins, so he just needs to rein that in a little bit. And then also, I can't remember if it was the first or second, but I'm pretty sure it was the first. But Jalen Waddle was wide open in the flat, and if he would have led him well and thrown the ball accurately, Jalen Waddle, with his speed, might have even been able to pull off a touchdown off the yak. But he made Jalen Waddle dive for it, and he couldn't end up coming down with the catch after the Falcons challenged it. So those 3 plays were a little bit off, but for the most part, I thought he looked really, really sharp. Jacoby Brissett looked cool. Reed Sinnett didn't play enough for me to really evaluate him. So that is what that is. As far as our running backs go, our offensive line wasn't great again last week. Last night rather. I thought that they did look better this week than last week, by default. But also the Bears' defense is also much better than the Falcons, so there's that, especially the defensive line. But that being said, I think some of the running backs that got us some second effort yards looked the best, even if their statistics don't show it. I thought that Myles Gaskin's second effort yards were really, really impressive. And same thing with Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Brown was running really aggressively, really physically, and he really looked good last night. So I am very excited about that. Also, I forgot to mention with Tua, he did scramble out and go get a first down, which is fine. But one thing I didn't like is that he dove forward head first. I need him to stop doing that. I'd rather him slide or get out of bounds or something. Just don't do what he just did. I'm not trying to lose him off, especially in preseason. So I'd like him to chill out with that. And also, Myles Gaskin was also very useful in the receiving game as well. He was pretty consistent in the receiving game, so he just had a pretty good game overall. So shout out to him. I think that Myles Gaskin and Malcolm Brown are going to be a pretty good 1-2 punch with Ahmed as a relief guy. Maybe Dokes a little bit. Dokes looked okay, but also the offensive line started playing a little bit better at the end of the game because they were up against some of the Falcons' backups and stuff like that. Austin Jackson still looked really, really bad. Larnell Coleman came in and looked honestly a little bit better than Austin Jackson to me. Because Austin's hands, his feet, his effort, all of that is bad to me. He's more physically gifted than Coleman, but the technique and the effort just aren't there. Coleman's feet kind of suck, but at least his hands get there semi-consistently. I'm not saying he should start necessarily, because Liam Eichenberg also did play last night, and I thought that he looked pretty sharp for the most part. He does look like he could get a little bit stronger, but his technique looks consistent, kind of like what I expected coming out of college. So I'm leaning more and more toward possibly having him start at left tackle. Liam Eichenberg start at left tackle and probably start Jesse Davis at right. Even though I'm not a fan of Jesse Davis, if you're familiar with my channel, you should know that by now. I don't like him, but I really don't like Austin Jackson. So there's that. Our new guy, Greg Little, he didn't look that great, but he also didn't get that much playing time last night. He tried to chop block some people pretty lazily. So Michael Dieter did that quite a few times last night too. So there's that. Robert Hunt looked pretty decent. Solomon Kinley, he still looked, needs more improvement with the technique, but at least he does have high effort, which is nice. Matt Skora is still, in my opinion, looking like the better center. He should probably get the start over Dieter, in my opinion. But that's just me. Robert Jones. By the way, Robert Hunt and Robert Jones, if I get them mixed up, just forgive me. But I do mean Robert Jones, the rookie. He didn't get much playing time, but he looked pretty decent. Could also definitely work with the technique a little bit with his hands and his feet. But he looked okay. Decent developmental backup type guy. Mac, as far as the receivers go, Matt Collins looked pretty good. He was getting open relatively consistently. Like I said, Gaskin was a consistent target for us. Waddle got some interesting plays on him. Kirk Merritt actually played pretty well. Not only did he get some catches for us that were pretty good, especially that goal line fade from Brissett, but also he was actually a pretty decent blocker in the run game as well. So shout out to him. Jakeem Grant was actually looking pretty decent. That we were using him for some end arounds and stuff like that, and he also did some punt return stuff. But for the most part, Malcolm Perry was our return man, and he looked pretty good there. That's about it with the receivers as far as what I actually. Robert Foster also got another goal line touchdown as well. He looked really good there. Reed Sinnett and Brissett both threw a really gorgeous goal line fade. And actually, with this game, all three quarterbacks threw a touchdown last night. So that was interesting. So moving on to the defense, Sam McGuavin was all over the field last night. He really was. He was flying all over the field. He got 4 sacks last night. Was stuffing the run. He looked really, really good. So shout out to him. He definitely made a loud statement that you're not getting rid of me, and he should probably get a little bit of playing time come the regular season. Probably be in the rotation. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter. Just because, on the edges, you're not going to put him over Van Kinkel. You're not going to put him over Phillips. You're not going to put him over Ogba. None of those guys. So he's not going to start at the edge over them. Now Ogba, obviously, he's an edge when we're in our 4-3 set, but whatever. And then with our linebackers, he's not going to get in over McKinley and Baker. Now maybe when we do our 4-3 sets, maybe we can have something like Jerome Baker at Will, McKinley at Mike, and then Sam McGuavin at Sam. That could be interesting. Sam just kind of come down, maybe do some blitzes from the linebacker spot and just smash people. That could be something interesting to see. So, because his athleticism is a little bit lacking, but Sam kind of covers that up a little bit. So that could be something to think about. Brennan Scarlett looked okay. Kevon LeBlanc, he had a really hard hit last night. Ended up forcing a fumble, if I remember correctly. Benito Jones looked okay. He was eating up blocks pretty decently. Calvin Munson obviously got the interception, really read Felipe Franks' eyes. One thing I did love to see is that our defense still was confusing the young Felipe Franks like we did with a lot of, especially young quarterbacks last year. So that was really good to see. Now, one thing I will say, we were giving up a lot of plays running up the middle, and we did that last week too. So that's something that I want us to work on for sure. Now, come the regular season, when we have like Raekwon Davis and Christian Wilkins and Seiler all playing, in the middle, I think that will fix a lot of those issues. If we're being completely honest here. But still, it is something to note. Let's see. Trill Williams looks pretty bad to me. Jalen Phillips played a little bit, but we were pretty much monitoring his snaps. He didn't really do anything to really jump off the screen, really. Nick Needham looked pretty good last night. Good coverage. He was able to swat a ball down. Same thing with Eric Rowe. Eric Rowe also got a pretty good pass deflection. He also really cracked somebody too. So that was good. Duke Riley didn't look that great. Agba had some interesting snaps, but he didn't get much playing time. When Byron Jones was out there, he made some really good plays. Really good in coverage and stuff like that. He did give up one pass, but that's okay. He looked pretty good on everything else. Noah, same thing. Raekwon Davis was able to break through and chase the quarterback. Same thing with Adam Butler. They just need to finish a little bit more. Kirk Merritt is actually looking pretty decent on the as for special teams because he made some tackles as well. I mentioned him as one of our receivers, but he's fast, big, can tackle, can block. So I think he might have a future on this team for special teams. That's something. Strobridge still needs to get some more playing time, in my opinion, but he didn't really do anything to jump off screen. But he's mostly a run stopper, eating up blocks, so he's not gonna jump off the screen on the stat sheet. He's just not. That is not his style. And if you notice, when Jason Strobridge was out there, they were not running the ball to the outside. They were running it up the middle away from Strobridge. So, take that how you will. So, yeah, there's that. Noah Igbenogany also had a pretty decent kick return last night as well. But that's really about it. But, anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you'd like to, appreciate hitting that like button. If you have any questions or comments, leave in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.